So, there's a scene in Black Clover that is literally one of the most disappointing scenes I've ever seen. If you live under or possibly are yourself a rock and do not know, Black Clover is a show about a boy named Asta trying to become literally the most powerful magic user in the world, the Wizard King. Except, in traditional shonen fashion, despite having no magic abilities whatsoever, he is adamantly determined. But, unlike normal shonens, they use this weakness to give him an ability he couldn't have had if he had magic. An anti-magic sword that sucks up all the magic it comes into contact with, like a painted whore from hell. To me, this is actually a really cool writing choice, because this way his magiclessness isn't a weakness at all. It's the linchpin by which he is able to be strong. And by be strong, I mean work towards his dreams. I've noticed a trend in shonen anime, where the main character is set up to be this endearing underdog type with only $1 and a dream to their name. And then they go and make them the most OP character in the fucking universe, what the fuck? And to be fair, Asta isn't actually all that different, what with a freaky Zetsu all up inside him, but they made it a point to show that he isn't overpowered, he's differently powered. And through this power, he perseveres through sheer grit and spirit. He struggles, but his unwavering determination feels deserved, because you can see him progressing with his own 2 hands. And then he loses those hands. And he's faced with a terrible truth. He will never be able to swing a sword again. Having just learned of his fate, Asta walks alone to a rock on the cliff's edge and sits, staring at the moon for a long time. His friends gather at the tree line, watching in what really is best described as grief. Not because someone died, but because all the work Asta has put in has been destroyed. They hurt for him, with him, like true friends do.
Asta.
You'll never wield the sword again.
What now?
When this happened, my heart sank. And upon his friends hearing the news, they wept. Everyone, even Yami, the chronically constipated father of the Black Bulls, is affected. And then the titular scene happens. And instead of getting that moment where Asta, this bright, shining beacon of unwavering positivity and determination, shows a very vulnerable, human side of himself, in the form of grieving the loss of his path forward. We could have gotten a moment where these larger-than-life characters become startlingly real. And when that happens, it makes it feel so much more relatable. But instead of that, we get this.
Like I'm gonna give up! You got me again, Fate, you big jerk! And all you did was get me even more fired up! I'm gonna find a cure for my arms somehow, do you hear me? And if that's not possible, then I'll just figure out a way to fight without them!
Man, to say I was disappointed is an understatement. In fact, I was really, really upset by this. Like, more so than a normal person should be. Because I felt cheated out of something I needed to see, to feel. Because when I watched that scene, I was in a dark place. I'm not gonna air out my sob story here, but long story short, tragedy had shattered my family and my entire life got flipped upside down. Everything I ever knew was suddenly ripped away from me. And after that, I felt so lost and so alone. I didn't know what my way forward was. I didn't know, what I could even do to even take that step forward. How do you take a step forward when you don't have legs? How do you swing a sword when you don't have arms? And so, seeing Asta lose his way forward It felt so close to home. And in that moment when he's looking at the moon, I see myself looking at the moon, and I remember all those times I just cried because I didn't know what to do. I'd look at the moon and I'd pray that the answer would come to me. I'd do anything, but there was nothing I could do. But instead of all that nuance, Asta just nopes out of being sad. He just reverts back to his normal self, as if the loss of his arms was just a minor setback he can work harder to overcome, and not something that just destroyed every bit of work he had put into his dream up until that point. As if it wasn't something that took one of the most important things from him, his agency. But beyond my personal trauma gripes, this scene is an objective writing shit stain. They went for a cheesy gotcha moment for a character that sorely needs more depth, especially when compared to the other characters, even within the Black Bulls, when they could have written an emotionally heart-wrenching scene where the mask starts to slip and Asta shows how, despite all his confidence, deep down he's still scared he won't succeed. Like, imagine if the scene played out like this. Noelle and the others gather at the tree line, hearts aching in grief. Asta sits there for a long time, not moving. Noelle finally decides to go up to him, alone, and once she gets to him, she can see tears streaming down his face. No sounds, no wailing, just silent tears. She asks him if he's okay, and he tells her that he has never once doubted himself, not for a second. But now he honestly doesn't know if he can become the Wizard King. He confides in her that he's only been so determined because deep down he's scared of failing. He's so scared of being what the world tells him he is. A worthless peasant boy who doesn't matter and won't amount to anything. You know, things that actual humans would feel in this situation. And that way, Noelle and Asta could have an intimate, emotional moment where she, in a sincere and not embarrassed or tsundere way, says to him that it doesn't matter what the world thinks. He will always be worth something to her. He will always matter to her. And then the two could just live in that moment for a second, looking deep into each other's eyes. And that way it would set up a natural progression for their relationship to blossom. Then the rest of the gang comes forward and tells Asta that they're not going to let this prevent him from becoming the Wizard King. That they're going to help him,
Force him
to become the Wizard King, no matter what it takes. Because they're more than friends, they're family. And they can't stand to see the man who inspired them to push forward no matter what, to get up every time, get knocked down so far. Upon hearing this, Asta just starts sobbing and they all embrace him. No judgment, just pure love. Instead of using that moment to show how cartoonishly strong Asta is, they should have used it to show why the Black Bulls are different from the other squads. They're a family, a band of misfits that found where they fit in, and they'd rather drop dead than let Asta's dream die. It could have been such a beautiful scene, one that would have probably made me bawl like a baby. And it would have complemented the show's themes of the peasants or otherwise ostracized people being more human than the royals. And then they done fucked it up! It's actually astounding to me how they set up the scene so perfectly, only to not just have it fall on its face, but to pile drive its face into the ground. It's such a wasted moment, and I'm still mad about it. Anyways, I'm done. I made this video that you have watched, and now my words are in your brain, and they will be there forever, and there's nothing you can do about it. Okay, bye.